Hi everyone, Sandra Duran Wilson here, and welcome to this week's Mixed Media Soul Sparks. Every week I bring you some little sparks of inspiration to jumpstart your next project, whatever that project might be. Maybe the project's like getting out in nature, taking some photographs, or just going out and having an experience that you can then bring back into your studio and create from that experience. And that's what this week is about. I was recently out on some hikes and I went to Carlsbad Caverns in southern New Mexico, my first time that I'd been there, and it was just amazing, such an incredible experience. So it's the feeling of that, it's the photographs, and it's going to be, then I've worked with the imagery. So the original photograph is of inside the caves. And it wasn't a very good picture because I was still figuring out how to work my camera in almost complete darkness. But I decided to save the photograph because it gave me something to work with. And then I started to work with a photo editing program and filters, creating this more abstracted image. So the photograph itself, with the digital manipulation, I really like. And now I want to translate that again into a painting. So I might, you see the shapes, I'm kind of keeping true to the shape of this and into here. And I'm drawing the basic shapes about how this comes down into here, and then this part is going to be the blue. Up in here I have more of the kind of brown with the red and those lines coming up. You know, you could work with pencils, you could work with paints. I don't know where I put my pencils. Well, let's use this ink. So I'm not going to paint this whole thing, but I just want to give you the idea of working with the photograph that's been manipulated, and it's coming into here, using these lines, coming back into here. You get this feeling of the movement of the lines. I'm going to come back with, here's the paint I was looking for. This is a dark brown. And some permanent violet dark. And a little of the blue. So I'm just going to kind of create this area right here with the paint, just so you can get an idea. And then after I've done the painting, I'll talk to you about doing like a collage piece. So if I bring in the darker, bringing in these colors, let's come in with the blue. So I can start to get these layers. And then I come back in here with a yellow ochre and just kind of use this as my guideline of how I'm going to make this painting. Pretty straightforward on that. You know, even in here, I come back in, here's my blue area, and I can use the blues and the whites. So I'm working on these same kind of shapes, same kind of feeling as what's in the photograph, my manipulated photograph. So that's one way. So then after that, you could take it, and this is what I like to do, is I take it and I want to translate it into the next part. And mostly I want to take what I feel are these textures. And I'm going over here now to this is just a piece of plywood. I'll put it this way. And I've gessoed it. Now the shape on this is slightly different. It's a little wider than it is taller. So I'm going to begin to change my shapes here. And here's my pencil. So I might just, say, okay, let's see, here's this basic formation coming out over into here. That part's coming. This is coming around here. This comes over here. So I've got these basic outlines. Here's my white part kind of coming up over into here. And then up in here is kind of that blue or that brown and blue area. I'm looking more at my darks are going to be a little wider. And then this blue over here. So I can change. It doesn't have to remain true to that. But this is what I love. I go through all my little bits and pieces and I start to find these textures. This is a cheesecloth that has, I don't know, maybe it's plaster, maybe it's a gel medium. And I like to see how that texture looks there. Here's another interesting piece. This is, I think we did this in paper skins, and then I painted it. So it's got a lot of gel on it. And it could be a really interesting piece to go over into here. This is some more papers that have gels on them, some paints, and I kind of like the feeling of maybe how it might work in there. So I might cut a piece of that and add it into that area. We've got some nice corrugated cardboard, kind of reflects those lines. Might get cut up and put into there. Here is some leftover foil, which is kind of, I don't know, I just kind of liked it. Maybe it'll end up. Tyvek is always a great texture to add. I think I have some more Tyvek. Oh, and this is actually Tyvek as well. This is the Tyvek that they wrap the houses with. And look at that. Isn't that like exactly what that is? Isn't that perfect? So when I'm going through, believe me, my boxes and boxes of this stuff, I'm looking at textures that are going to kind of give me the feeling of that. And when I found this one for that, I said, oh, that's perfect. Again, the cheesecloth, this kind of texture with that blue paint is really good. More Tyvek. This is a very organic paper that I've painted, so that'll probably find its way in. Other Tyvek. Crackles. Here we go. One of my favorite things is just having a leftover deli sheet. I was cleaning off paints and I've got this beautiful kind of orange on the dark colors, other things like this. So I'm going to take this pile of papers, and this one I think will end up in there somehow, and I am going to create this collage piece. I'm not going to bother with the painting. I'm going to go straight from my altered photograph to collage. And it doesn't all have to be collage. I can come back in with some paints. I can collage the papers in and then paint it how I want. But I like the idea of having the different textures there to really jumpstart this, because from the photograph, the original photograph was very flat because the lighting wasn't good. So then when I manipulated it, I got all of these textures. So now I'm going to take that one step farther. Here's another idea that you can do, is you can actually trade with friends. So have a friend send you a photograph. Maybe it's just a straight photograph. It doesn't have to be one that's been digitally manipulated, but have them send one of their photographs and you send them one of yours, and then you each create from those photographs. And it's really fun to see what you end up creating. So I look forward to seeing what you make. I look forward to seeing what I end up making. So come back and I'll be posting this in the finished video along with some other ideas of pieces I've done using this same concept. I love using nature as a jumping point, abstracting it, then taking it the next step and abstracting it some more and passing it on. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. I want to walk you through some of these steps that I take from inspiration from nature. And in step 1, this is the original photograph. I knew it wasn't a very good picture. I was still getting my settings adjusted for the cave. This is a picture that was shot in Carlsbad Caverns, but I knew it would be a good picture for altering it digitally. So I hung on to that. And in step 2, you can see where I began to digitally alter it using an app in my phone called PixArt. Look in the notes and you'll see where I have it written out for you. And I just played around with different tools that they have in there. And that's what I came up with, and I really liked it. Then in step 3, I changed the scale of it. So rather as the long, narrow format, I actually made it wider. And you're going to see that in step 4, I painted it. I was painting it in the long, narrow format. And I was really starting to take the movement from the original photograph to what I digitally altered, and then trying to recreate that image with paint. And then you're going to see that in step 5, I moved beyond that reference material. So in step 5 in the collage, I'm actually using the materials themselves to convey the feeling of that painting. And I kind of changed the scale of it a bit and just really moved beyond that last step. So what I'd like for you to try is this process of starting with a photograph, a realistic photograph, and then maybe altering it in some fashion, and then try painting it, and then take it to the next step and do collage to where you're capturing the essence of it, not so literally. You're going to find this a very helpful way to really loosen up your work and to really get that sense of feeling put into it. So look forward to seeing what you come up with. Join the Creative Awakening community on Facebook, where you'll be able to post your art, connect with other creatives around the world, and ask questions. Use the hashtag #MixedMediaSoulSparks when posting your work on social media. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.